If you could look into the camera and speak to your colleagues, what would you tell them that hip hop needs? What does hip hop need to do?
I think the braggadocio, money, cash, hoes thing needs to be deaded. I feel like that's holding us back as a culture, as black people. That doesn't advance us in any way, shape, or form. We've been doing that same thing for years now. It's been like, what, 4 decades of the same old, sorry for my language. And I feel like, if you're gonna be an artist, there's a time where you just have to, embrace the responsibility and understand that the power of music is something so special, and to be able to do it on this magnitude where you reach millions of people, it's like, why not use that for good? Why not tell kids something that they can connect with and use in their life? And like, really, my mission statement since day one, and I'm getting so worked up talking about this, all I wanted to do was help kids not feel alone and stop kids from committing suicide. Because thank you. And I'm never try to be political. I'm actually like shaking. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Those two specific things.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Well, I dealt with suicide for the past 5 years. Like there wasn't a week or a day that didn't go by where I was like, I want to check out. And I know what that feels like, and I know it comes from loneliness. I know it comes from not having self-worth, not loving yourself. And these are things that, kids don't have music that can coach them and give them that guidance. I didn't have that. What about the kids who, you've never really had an artist where you connected with them all across the world, And I think that's my job. I'm just really just trying to guide people and help people, because, loneliness is a terrible, terrible thing. If you don't know how to conquer it, it can eat you alive.
How are you right now?
I'm good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Let's Tackle That podcast. I'm Alec Lifschultz, aka Trip Busy, and I'll be your host tonight. I want to thank everybody who tuned in on Tuesday for the pop-up show. I decided to do a pop-up show on Tuesday to see who will jump in the chat room and who will interact with us. See, CB fan was saying, check it out. Hey, CB, what's going on, man? I see you in here tonight. Again, I want to thank everybody for jumping in on that show unexpectedly and being able to interact with us. It was great to have you guys on. I want to thank you guys for the positive feedback, man. It means so much to me to get the little messages on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, emails, even emails. That all means a lot to me, for sure. So, with that being said, I would like to bring in my guest tonight. My guest tonight is my very, 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 very first guest ever on the show. But since I relaunched, I would like for her to come back, and for the people that have never heard her before, I would like for her to introduce herself to them and get them a little bit familiar with her. Kia Dean. Kia, tell people a little bit about yourself.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Alec, again for having me. So just a little background about myself. I am currently a mental health professional. I provide therapy and counseling services to the youth and the underprivileged families of Chicago currently. Yeah, so that's just like a little bit about myself. This is actually, like Alex said, this is my second time on the show. So, I'm just, welcome to everybody that's willing to listen.
Tequila checks in. She says she's present. Hey, guys. B. Lift Show says, hello, Kia. Everybody's saying hello, and they're welcoming you back to the show. And, again, I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to come have this conversation with us on the Let's Talk It Out podcast, because I know how busy things get.
Yeah, sometimes. But, this is this is a job that really never stops, and anybody that's really willing to listen, or they feel like they need help in some form or fashion. If I know how to, then I'm willing. So thanks.
So I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it, as I'm so very, very good at doing, just jumping right into it. We introduced you. You are back. You know how things go on the show.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a little bit about what do you do as far as like I asked the guests, what's their way of take like self care? Like how do you take care of yourself if you feel like something's going on with you mentally or you're feeling like a little stressed out? Like what are some things that you like to do personally, Kia?
Music is a big release for me. And I listen to every genre of music, like from rap to heavy metal. You know what I mean? It's just music can evoke so many different emotions, and especially like if you don't know how to express those emotions, sometimes other people can put those emotions into those words. So I would say music, art is another big thing for me. I draw, so I find that to be very therapeutic if I can like create something. That's something that I'm actually in control of in that moment. So that's really good. Um, and really, I just spend time just doing like minuscule things that like I just enjoy. I might go to the store and buy some decor for my home, to decorate randomly, or I might buy a puzzle randomly to sit down and do that. I do those type of things just to like escape from reality in that moment, but still utilize control over something. So those are my favorite things to do.
I would have never guessed that you listen to metal.
Yeah, not much of it, but
So are,
what's
okay,
that song?
so are we an ACDC kind of girl or Metallica?
Metallica.
Okay, just wanted to get
Yeah,
that out
that
there.
was.
CB CB fan says Kid knocked it out the park last time. Encore at bat.
Oh, thanks,
I
thanks.
told you some people will remember. And again, like I said, I want to reiterate. I want to thank you for coming back on tonight. I mean, taking time out of your day to come have this conversation. Not even nobody is not nobody, but most people aren't as open to come have this conversation with me and with the guest and talking about the things that we talk about. So another thing that you said, I had a conversation with someone very recently about art and expressing yourself. Like there's nothing like creating with your hands.
Hmm.
As you as being able to draw. For me, I can't draw for save my life. Like if you want me to draw a stick figure and some houses in the clouds, I could do that. But I create with my hands in different ways. I create like say like the podcast. I create with different. I can't. Everybody has their own things that they're good at, but expressing yourself through art is very 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 important for you. Say if you feeling like you just want to let something out, man, just go grab a piece of paper or music. Some people create music or even dancing is a form of art. Go take a class with
Hmm.
dancing. There's more than just paper and pencils and coloring books and all that. There's way
Well,
more ways.
exactly. Cooking is a form of art. So it's so many different avenues that you can go with that. Most definitely.
Some people can't cook, so they need to just go ahead and ignore that one. Um, don't express yourself in the kitchen if you're not familiar with it. So, but I'm not here to attack anybody. If someone can't cook, that's perfectly fine. If you can't cook, God bless you. That's why they got the internet. YouTube. You can figure it out. I just got called mean. Okay, I'm not being mean. I'm just being honest. I'm just helping people out. If you express yourself, if cooking isn't your thing, then don't do it. So, my mother says bacon is therapeutic for me. And you know what's so funny? I need you to come up here and make some of those butter cookies because, I ain't had none in a while.
Hmm.
You're gonna have to make that transition from Nashville back up to Chicago to make that happen for us.
And that's so funny because I can relate to the baking. I don't bake a lot, but I do cook pretty often. And it'll even be times that getting off of work and just cooking, like while I have my TV show playing in the background. Yeah, that is therapeutic, I would say.
So this is completely off subject, but since you brought it up, what's your favorite thing to bake? Like, what do you? If someone told you, okay, we need you to just bake something to win a prize, what would you make?
Ooh. It doesn't, see, this doesn't count as a baked good necessarily, but man, can we just go with desserts? Does it have to be a baked item? It's not baked. I would say my banana pudding, though.
Banana pudding is a great choice, actually. Not a lot of people are a fan of it. It's underrated.
Yeah.
Banana pudding is, and it's some one thing about it is that either it's really good or it's really bad. There's no in between with someone's banana pudding. It's either gonna be really good or really bad.
Yeah, and I make my own custard. But anyway, let's
Yeah,
stay
see,
on the
we're
topic.
going to connect because custard is one of the things I'm really passionate about. But anyway, I'm sorry, it just got me thinking about baked goods and stuff like that. So we had a conversation recently, and you told me about something in church, like your pastor approached you, trying to give you an opportunity. Can you tell the chat room a little bit about that?
Yes, I was presented with the opportunity to become my church's youth minister recently. So that project, thanks, Alec. So that project is currently in the works. I guess I'm being led by faith instead of sight because this is not what I expected, for, I guess this is like a pivot in my career path a little bit, but, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be a good thing that will be going on. I'll be servicing um, the youth of the church, but really anybody a part of the community is always welcome. Of course, I'm looking to serve teenagers ages from 14 to 18. So that's approximately eighth grade freshman year until about their senior year, freshman year of college.
So essentially, you're going to be around the clock, even when you're not quote unquote working in mental health, still, helping people out with getting more well adjusted to life.
Correct.
Teaching these kids how to, a little bit more about religion, help making sure that they understand that there is a bigger thing and works, and in a creative way, because sometimes it can be quite difficult to draw teenagers in. Most of the time they're at that point where the only thing they're thinking about is girls if they're guys, or if they're girls, they're only thinking about guys, that kind of thing. Music and or drama, gossip, that kind of thing. High schoolers are a little bit harder. Kids are like really younger kids are better because they're more like attentive to what's being told to them. That they're just still learning and they're still trying to develop a little bit more. But as teenagers, you know how it is when you work with them, so you know how they are. They're a little bit more, I don't know, strong-willed, as per se.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the fact that that your pastor came at you with this job opportunity, quote unquote job, is very. I mean, it speaks a lot about who you are as a person. For him to have the faith to put you in that position to lead the youth at the church, that's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely see it as being a very big responsibility. But again, I feel like I'm pretty well versed with that population. So again, I just have to have faith that I wasn't just put in this position for no reason, and I just have to have faith in my capabilities, basically.
If you believe you can do it, you can do it. If you work hard on anything, you can make it happen.
There we
Trust me.
go. And then ultimately, working with them, I'm going to be learning with them. This is my first time around doing it. Of course, I'm going to probably make some, mistakes, but it'll be fun, I think. That we'll all be kind of like learning together going through this. So
CB Fan says, great kid can bring the mental health issue to church. Outstanding. So
and that's exactly it. I'm trying to bridge the two together for those who, of course, have chosen that path of faith. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do, because a lot of people separate the two. And I feel like they kind of tie into one another. But yeah, to stay on topic.
And in all seriousness, too, though, I mean, it was something I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about, like, because, I grew up, I went to a few churches growing up, and, made them home and sat through services and stuff. And one thing I've noticed is that sometimes mental health isn't talked about, it isn't covered in churches. I don't hear much about people with depression or anxiety and stuff like that. But the fact that you are planning to bridge that and incorporate it with those teenagers, they won't have the same experience like I had personally, like growing up in a church and not learning anything about it, or going to school and not learning anything about it, and until one day I have an anxiety attack and I don't know it's an anxiety attack. I think I'm dying,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know why I feel that way. So
Yeah.
that's really incredible that you're going to be able to try to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
So, just want to read a couple more comments in the chat room. B. Lifshultz says it's a great avenue for behavior and emotional health. CB Fan says props to the pastor. This is a huge, honorable endeavor, shaping the generation of tomorrow. Lifshultz says. Dan Finland said Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or cannot, you're right." It's true. I mean, if you go into it knowing that you can do it, Kia, which I believe you're able to do it, obviously, because why else would they come at you and ask you to take on this type of job, this endeavor, if you weren't able to do it? So, and like I told you before when you first said it to me, I was like, hey, if you need somebody to come in as a backup, I'm down. I'm very, very, very familiar with the word, as my mother can attest to that. And also, I'm pretty good at talking too. Just saying.
Yes, as we can see, or hear rather.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like that's very, very, relevant to this topic, that you are able to spend your 9 to 5, your Monday through Friday, going to go help people out. And I'm not sure if you have a midweek service at church, but your Sunday, still going to go help people out. That's incredible.
Yeah, it will be Sunday, but then I would probably be hosting my ministry on Saturday afternoons. That's kind of what I'm looking to do, and it'll just be like for like 2 to 3 hours, early on a Saturday afternoon. So I'm not taking up too much of their day, but yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully within the next month, it will be up and running.
So I want to ask you, to your 9 to 5, back to your 9 to 5. What's the youngest child that you've ever worked with? Like, I mean, I know you've worked with families.
Yeah.
So what's the youngest?
Let me see. I believe the youngest client I had was 5. 5 years old.
5 years old, such a tender young age. So with a child at that age, how are you like from your professional standpoint, from Kia's standpoint, how are you able to identify like what this kid has going on with them? Like, say if they have some type of mental condition, or they're dealing with some kind of anxiety, like what gives that away for you?
Well, initially before they are able to meet with me, they do undergo screenings prior to determine if there are any other DSM, which is the diagnostic mental health manual. But anyway, they go through that screening, and then they're assigned to me, and I go based upon whatever their treatment plan was determined based upon those screenings. So behavior wise, when they're actually meeting with me, I mean, a lot of the times, you can just observe, like if the diagnosis is ADHD and it's a true diagnosis of that disorder, I can just witness it, in the midst of me talking to the child. The first 5 minutes, they're, bouncing from topic to topic, or they're having a hard time sitting in one spot, things like that. That's pretty easy to observe with them. Or, a lot of times they're able to verbalize it. I don't really have too many intellectually disabled people that I work with too much. It happens sometimes, but it's kind of rare.
So the kids are able to let you know what's going on, but like you said, there's previously screening going on.
Yes.
I was just trying to get a little bit of a gauge for what part of the process you are in with the children. Like, are you the one that does some of the screening, or again, like you said, when they come, by the time they come to you, have a pretty good idea of what's going on?
Yeah. The only screening that I am responsible for doing at this time are crisis assessments, in which case I can be able to basically determine if a child needs immediate hospitalization for a mental crisis. An example of that would be like a suicide attempt, those type of things. But no, I am not responsible for the actual diagnostic testing. No, we have actual licensed psychiatrists on staff for that.
Wow, I'm always so drawn back by the fact that kids at this young age, very young age, are making attempts on their life. They just like, and Lizzie came on last week and we talked, and we were saying how she has an anti-bullying initiative that she launched called the No Bully Zone, and it's very, very important for these kids to understand that their words are cut deep. You know, that they're hurting these other children and making them feel like they're worthless. They feel like they go home, their parents are ignoring them, so they feel like that's their only escape from what's going on. And that's very sad that's that gets to that point. Now, when you step in for the crisis aversion, like what do you say or do in that type of situation where a kid has tried to make an attempt on their life like that? Like, what do you do?
Um, well, first we have to meet with the child or the family wherever the event has taken place. A lot of the times, it is within the home, but then even sometimes it could be like at school, like if a child was caught cutting or with a razor on hand, things like that. Even if the child isn't taking an immediate attempt, if there are other symptomatic behaviors around that situation, that can still qualify as a crisis event. So we go to the location, take a statement from both like the client and like any witnesses like to the event that was occurring, and then we just basically like can determine just based upon like the conversations and the demeanor of the client at that time. Like if they're, obviously hysterical, then no, we're not just going to release them to go on about their day. We might want to take them in to the hospital in order to do a further evaluation. In which case, at the hospital, they can do a further determination on whether or not they're going to, decide to intake them or not. But that's, it's pretty simple most of the time because it's easy. It's typically easier for me as an outside individual coming into a crisis situation as help than the other people that have already been there because, things have already escalated. So typically by the time I arrive on the scene of a crisis event, then things are pretty much have like kind of de-escalated, at least most of the time. I'm not going to say all the time, but yeah, but that's not my main duty. Like I'm still doing like the therapy and the counseling. That's just like an additional hat that I wear. So yeah, the majority of the time I'm not dealing with suicide attempts or, my clients trying to harm other people. I'm more so dealing with depression or, like I said, like the hyperactive behavioral disorders, oppositional disorders, those type of things. Is like that's my more so day-to-day basis.
So the chat room has chimed in. Courtney says what Kid is doing is absolutely amazing. CB fan says Kid is bringing in the early innings. He makes more baseball references. He says you're a godsend, literally. And like again, the fact that you're able to go through this on a weekly basis, like as far as like, counseling people and counseling these young children and helping them and saving them, but also then turn around and going to church and be able to, you're going to be ministering to the young adults and teaching them as well while trying to bridge that gap. That is truly amazing. So just to piggyback a little bit off what you were saying about the children, when you're you mainly work with children that are dealing with depression, and I'm pretty sure, like you said, you get a screening from you have people that do the screening first to let you know what's going on before they come to your office or before you go see them. And just walk me through a little bit, like, okay, so what's one of your first avenues to battle it when a kid's that young and they're dealing with it? Like, do you go straight to medication? Like, what's your immediate thought on how to treat it?
For children that young, they don't really typically understand their emotions. So I try to start with some psychoeducation, and that's just basically teaching them what each one of their emotions are, what they'll feel like to them. For example, for happiness, I might have like a little coloring sheet with like an outline of the body, and I'll have the child circle the part of the body that they feel happy, and then they'll circle the mouth, things like that. So they could become familiar with how their body can respond to the different emotions. And then typically after that, I can ask them like, what makes you feel happy? And they can label some things there, what makes you feel sad, and, those type of things. So it really just starts with teaching them what their feelings are and why and how they feel them.
That's that's a pretty good technique. Having them color where they feel happy at. So again, I have more feedback from the chat room. B. Live Show says, the higher number of teen suicide has gathered national attention now. Good Morning America just covered a segment today attributing a lot of the attempts to loneliness caused by social media age. This generation has no real connection or community connection, a disconnect dilemma. Yes, we have talked about it before. I've talked about it before with social media. Even people at my age, there's a feeling of not being fulfilled because you see someone that has something that you wish you had, and it's not possible for you to get it right now. So you begin to shut down a little bit on the inside, and you feel disconnect. But a good example I could have for that is, say, someone who's married and with kids, and they're going to work and taking care of their family and stuff like that. They see someone who's posting pictures of them going on vacation all the time and they're single. They kind of get a little envious of that because they see that this person is really enjoying that. And the person that's always going on vacation and single, they turn around and see pictures of this guy posting his family, and they get a little jealous of that. Like, I wish I was married. It's a never-ending cycle of people being jealous or not feeling fulfilled with their life because of things they see on social media.
Yeah, it's a constant comparison, and that's actually something I'm seeing a lot of with especially my youth between the ages of, I would say, 12 and 17. There's a lot with the social media references, and that's, I was just going to say, aside from teaching people about their emotions firsthand before I jump into like how I like to treat the depression and those type of things, I have them build up their self-esteem first. That's like the first thing before anything. You really can't feel good about the things around you if you don't feel good within first. So I try to redirect their energy inward again so that they can remind themselves about who they kind of like used to be, before they were even exposed to social media, before they knew anything about, I don't know, a Tesla, those type of things. I try to keep them grounded first. I think that's really important. And I've seen a pretty good turnabout when I do, again, focus the attention instead of like on everybody else and what everybody else wants them to be. Like, what do you want to be? Forget about what everybody else says. What is it that you want out of life? If you want that Tesla, why do you want it? And how do we get it? I keep it real with them. You know what I mean? I think that's a big part of it.
Well, kids and young adults today, you can definitely tell when you're not being genuine with them. So that's it's pretty obvious that you have to make sure that you keep it as real as possible with them. They know when people are feeding them fluff. So the whole Tesla thing, man, I don't, those cars are overrated. No, I'm kidding. But anyway,
yeah, I'm like, that was just an example.
I know, I'm kidding. But yeah, as 12-year-olds are getting, I don't know, like, it's weird that young generation like that is getting on social media heavy like that to the point where it's making them feel depressed like that. I didn't know 12-year-olds were really on there in such a way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I honestly feel like the line between childhood and adulthood has become blurred out. A lot of the youth feel like they're entitled to do as adults do. And with that, you're seeing a lot of adult-like activity from the youth. They feel entitled to a lot of things now. And that came with, being entitled. You get these phones at the age of 3 or these tablets and things. You have pretty much free range to do what you want. This is a new generation of people. And people like to say like, oh, it'll be fine. Everybody's smarter now because of tablets. I mean, that's your own opinion, but this is the first generation of people. We don't really know what the long-term effect of all of this is. And I think that, just the social media prevalence or the relevancy of social media is due to, children being entitled to too much too soon.
Back in my day, we used to be able to tell where our friends were by looking at where all the bikes were outside on the ground at.
Yep.
That's how we used to be able to tell. Now these kids could just log on to Facebook and hit each other up. You know,
Yeah.
we
Yep.
my favorite is when we used to have to call. Like, say if I was trying to call your house and we was like in high school or something, or like 8th grade, and I want to talk to you, I had to call at a certain time to make sure your parents don't pick up and you pick up the phone.
Mhm.
So I ain't gotta be like, hey, can I talk to Kia? You know, kids don't have to deal with that no more.
No,
So
it's easy access, text messaging,
man,
all of the Snapchat. You
man.
open the message is gone. Parents really can't keep up with what their children are doing anymore. So, yeah, that's
So
what's going on.
so Brittany from the chat room, she has a question for you. She said, Kia, is there any tips on ways to build self-esteem?
Sure. This is my favorite activity to do. Every day, like at the end of your day, just start jotting down a few things from the day that you feel like you did well. It doesn't have to be anything significant at all. Like, you didn't have to go out and try to become the next president. You could have just, if you told yourself that you were going to go to the gym after work and you actually went, even if you only stayed for 20 minutes, you still went. Like, congratulate yourself on that. Or if you got stuck in traffic and you didn't start cursing everybody out, congratulate yourself on that as well. Just really become your own cheerleader. And I think that you start finding out that you're a pretty dope person when you start doing stuff like that.
So that's exactly what, I mean, Justin said the same thing. How he pulls himself out of a funk is he likes to like take account for the little accomplishments you make throughout the day. Like you woke up and you made your bed up. That's an accomplishment. Not everybody make their bed up, believe it or not.
Hmm.
You made it to work on time. Um, you didn't freak out. First of all, I feel kind of triggered because like sometimes when I'm in traffic and it's bad, I do get a little flustered and I say some things that you wouldn't want to say in front of your grandma. And I'm a work in progress. So I'm not a complete person at all. It's just I'm able to take accountability for my actions and my words I say when I'm upset because I'm sitting in traffic. So I understand not everybody, everybody is different. Everybody has their things that trigger them, and traffic is one of the top 5 things, especially when there's a 5-lane expressway. There's no reason for there to be traffic.
I agree. Wholeheartedly.
But anyway, Brittany says social media creates a lot of unrealistic expectations of life. Shaking my head. CB fan says I know parents who babysit their children with tablets and smartphones. Gee, that sounds like great parenting. B.
Like my
Lipschultz,
kids have coloring books.
right? You gotta take them back to the basics. They gotta have the coloring book, and they gotta only have the 8 crayons. You can't give them the big one until they earn that.
Hmm.
You can't give them the 64 pack of crayons. You gotta make sure they have 8. That's it. They gotta learn how we did.
Exactly. Back to the basics.
The 64 the crayon sharpener on the back of it. They can't have that yet. They gotta start off with the 8. That's important to build character. So B. Lipschultz says setting healthy boundaries creates safe havens.
For sure it does. Most definitely.
Uh, CB fan says you see it in restaurants and schools, young people addicted to social media, and seeing a lot of drivers texting, posting, tweeting. So one thing I like to do, like, granted, I don't really sit down with my family like that because we all have lives and live in different parts of the United States and stuff like that. So we don't all get to sit down and have dinner together. But if I am having dinner, I like to put my phone down, not touch it while I'm eating with someone.
Hmm.
A lot of times people have a hard time doing it, but people are so attached to them that it's so hard for them to detach from it and actually enjoy life and pay attention to what's going on with them, what's going on in reality. They feel like they have to look at what's going on, look at this news, look at this update. But back in the day, we used to be able to sit and have dinner together.
Hmm.
Sit and have dinner as a family, or I mean, God forbid you go out on a date with somebody now and they don't put the damn phone down.
That's an insult.
It's not going down. It's not. They own it the whole time.
Yeah,
So,
no, we won't go on another date. How about that? um,
you're trying to watch something with somebody, they're on their phone, and like next thing you know, they ask you what's going on.
hmm
So,
Yeah, it's way too time consuming. And almost brainwashing, to be totally honest. Yeah, a lot of people, and myself included, have been guilty of comparing my life and my lifestyle to those that I've seen on social media. And it was in which I just had to take a break away from it. It's like, like, whoa, why am I consuming so much of my time with other people's lives? And then the thing is, nobody's posting their struggles. Nobody's posting, I'm not going to say nobody, very few people are posting their struggles and their tears and everything. Like, and if they do post them, it comes in that post like, oh, look what I just got. Look what I just accomplished. Everybody posts the highlights of their lives typically on the majority of social media. So it's not even reality. Like you get to see that snippet, but you don't get to see all of the work that might have gone into those accomplishments. So it hinders progress in certain aspects.
So, yeah, I said something about that. Ironically, I talked about that 2 nights ago when I said about what people be posting on social media. You got there's never really a balance. Like I tell people, like if you have someone who's always being negative, remove them from your proximity. Especially like people, like you don't have to see people always being negative all the time. Especially if you have phones, you can remove them from your visibility. It's simple. Mm-hmm. So I want to switch up a little bit. We talked about social media a little bit. I want to ask you because, obviously, Kia, you're very passionate about helping people out. You're very passionate about it. And I just wanted to ask you, like, where does this passion come from? Like, why are you so passionate about helping others? Not everybody out there is so willing to do the things that you're willing to do, the time that you spend helping others.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Outside of it just being what I feel it being, God sent, just growing up, I was really just like that. I was really a nice girl growing up. I really didn't like the mean girls. I really didn't fit in with them. I wasn't really popular. I just got along with everybody. But and it, even at a young age, that kind of got me picked on a little bit because people thought that I was too nice. And I just didn't get enjoyment out of being mean to other people. You know what I mean? I always liked helping other people. I used to be a Girl Scout growing up. We used to do a lot of community service events then. And I found like, okay, when we used to go like to the food depositories and everything like that, I used to like, packing up the boxes, just knowing that they were going to feed people, or volunteering to hand out, what were they, little bingo cards at the nursing home that my great grandmother used to live at. Things that I used to do. I just found like enjoyment in. And going further as it with my career, it was something that came easy to me. I was always kind of like the mom in my group of friends, the pretty level-headed one, the one that people always came to if they had a problem because I was unbiased. It just came naturally for me and it made sense. So here I am.
Somebody said you were Jesus-like because you're willing to give service to others before yourself in the chat room.
Yeah, because it's not about me. That's the thing. If you've seen the movie Ants before, then you're gonna be familiar with the concept that I'm gonna go into. It's more like, like, okay, we could just say ants in general. They're working for like a common purpose, right? And that's to keep their economy thriving.
To break into your house and steal the crumbs? Oh, never mind.
Well, come on. Not your house. I'm saying like their economy, like they're all working for each other. Nobody is serving purposeless, right? Humans are actually like the only people that are like, living for ourselves, to be totally honest with you. So I just look at it as that concept with the ants. I'm not here to it doesn't just stop with me. If I died right now, life is going to continue on for the rest of you, and hopefully the work that I put into will affect, that's going to keep going. And that's what I look at. It doesn't just stop with me. So I'm going to, reach out whenever I can.
Well, thank God that you're not going to die right now.
Well, no.
Because that'd be pretty awkward.
Lord forbid. Lord forbid.
I'd be like, yeah, are you still there? No? Well, hey. It was a great episode tonight. No, I'm kidding. So, so you have feedback from chat room. EJ4312 says they see the glory but don't know the story in regards to social media. So CB fan has a question for you. He said, "Can Kia talk about her bullying experiences? Like, were you ever bullied growing up?"
Um, yeah, it's a little bit. I'm not gonna say, like I was picked on. Even, yeah, I was bullied. You know what I mean? It just didn't get to the point of severity where it gets for some people. But yeah, I was picked on a lot for being skinny. That was a big thing. Boys and girls would both pick on me. Even to this day, I still have adults make a comment about how small I am. Now I don't really care, but growing up, that did kind of hurt a little bit. So yeah, that I had really light, weird, sandy hair growing up, so that was another thing that people used to pick at. And I wore glasses. Um, I've been this height that I am now since about fourth or fifth grade, and at that time it was pretty tall. I'm 5'3", but a 5'3" fourth grader, that's pretty awkward.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Wait
So
a second. You were 5'3" in fourth grade.
yeah, I had a major growth spurt. Like,
Holy.
that's what I mean. Like, I was just awkward at that time, and now I'm short, but I've been this height for that long. So
So
yeah,
they picked on you for being quote unquote skinny, but people are going out of their way to get surgeries to become skinny.
exactly, right?
This world just doesn't even make sense, man.
Yeah.
I try to understand it sometimes, but I just really most of the time I just drift in and out.
Yeah, that, and then once I kind of got a hold on myself and I kind of like, learned what kind of looked good on me and things like that in high school. Basically, I grew into my looks. Um, I started getting a lot of hatred from girls at that point, and I guess that came from the attention that I got from the boys. Yeah, and that lasted up until like my freshman year of college. I actually almost got jumped in college because of a situation that was just due to pure jealousy. So
You almost got jumped in college.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to grasp. So people that paid thousands and thousands of dollars to go away to school,
hmm
we're going to throw all that away just to jump 5'3" Kia.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's just like I'm not a fighter at all. I have never been in a fight in my entire life, so that was like culture shock. I'm like, I get along with everybody typically, but yeah.
You're alright sometimes, I guess. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I mean, I've dealt with the kind of same thing. I wouldn't say I was quote unquote bullied, but a lot of guys didn't like me because I don't know, maybe because I was, for lack of a better term, good looking guy, and had a guy that really wanted to fight me one time because actually it happened a few times. And guys wanted to fight me because their girlfriends were attracted to me.
hmm
So it's hard sometimes, I guess, being pretty. No, I'm kidding.
No, but like I said, like like being taunted about my weight, that was really like something that was hard for me to get past, like throughout the years. Like, I will never forget. I think I was in, yeah, sixth grade, in my English class. There was a boy, and he told me that I needed some more meat back there. And that stuck with me probably for like, it's still sticking with me now. Well, not now at this moment. Like, I don't hold on to it in the same manner that I used to, but yeah, that probably stuck with me for like a few years. And I remember like in seventh and eighth grade, I was wearing shorts under my jeans to make it look like I weighed more than what I did. Yeah, it's just crazy how those things can like just stick with you, They just don't leave. That was one of those things. So it made me self-conscious about that.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to get to a point where, that was a good question from CB fan, but you were able to get into a point where, like you said, you grew into your looks and you understood, about yourself. You're like, okay, this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to be, and more power to you. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people never grow into them. They never understand that. They decide to go get surgeries and change their faces around and change their whole body around, spend thousands of $1,000 to become who they aren't. That's not who you are when you get all those surgeries. You're creating someone else when you do that. You know,
Exactly.
I mean, you as a youth pastor, you know we're all beautifully and wonderfully made. That's who we are. That's who we're supposed to be. There were no mistakes when we were created.
Nope, not one. So
And a lot of people again, they're so, and social media has a lot to do with it too. Like they see these pictures of what other people think are attractive, so they want to mold themselves into being that. So that's, again, that's more kudos to you for being able to accept who you are. And XO Vibe says, "Own that, girl." Talking about your looks.
yeah.
be who you are. That's all you can be. So I wanted to ask you if there's anything else you would like to share with the chat room, any closing remarks, anything else that's on your mind.
um That's pretty difficult. No, but I'm welcoming like any questions that, somebody might have about like a specific thing that they might be struggling with. If I could help them with that, I'm, more than willing to take a few questions about it.
I'm struggling with the sitting in traffic thing. Can you help me out?
Okay. Well, there's several things you can do. Is there like a different time you could leave? Are there different streets you could take?
Probably not. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say there's not much I can do when I'm in it. Sometimes you know how it is around the 4 o'clock hour. You finish up at work and boom, stuck.
Yeah.
Bumper to bumper.
So you right?
I didn't hear what you say.
I said so you would say that you expect it, right?
Yeah, you expect it, but still, it's like sometimes you sit there and you're like, oh man, I could be doing so many. And that's another thing. I'm one of those people that have to stay busy. I have to stay active personally. So when I'm sitting there not doing nothing, I'm thinking about what I can be doing. Like, man, I could be at home putting this together, or I could be doing this, or I could be on my way here to get this done. And you're just sitting there and you're just like, oh man, I'm just wasting time. That's just how I am. Not everybody's like that, but me personally,
You
that's
could
how I
look
am.
at it that way, or you could look at it like, there could be something up ahead that I'm not supposed to experience right now. Let me just chill.
Yeah, being at home. I'm not supposed to experience being at home. That's why I'm sitting in this traffic.
But this is called thought challenging. You have to challenge those negative thoughts and replace them with something positive. So, like I said, this is a perfect example of this. I'm going to give you an example, okay? I was actually running late for a client one day, and I'm getting off the expressway at 87th and the Dan Ryan, trying to get through all of that traffic at like 10:30 in the morning, and so many like semi trucks and cement trucks and everything. I kept getting caught by every single light ahead. And then this one cement truck, I would switch lanes. He ended up switching lanes right with me. Like everywhere I tried to get around him, he just kept blocking me. Maybe like 10 minutes into driving behind him, I'm approaching my turn and they have the whole street blocked off. Police tape, everything. I'm inner city, shootings and things of that nature occur. Yeah, I just had missed a shooting within that intersection in which 2 people were shot.
Well,
You know what I
thank
mean?
God that you did,
So,
because man, you have
so
some.
that's what I mean. It's like even though I was stuck in all that traffic, getting caught by all those lights, that cement truck that wouldn't get out of my way, obvious. You know what I mean? Like I was being blocked from something else occurring. So that's the kind of way like I like to look at traffic now. I was like, okay, well, I'm not supposed to be where I want to be right now. That's the only way I get through it.
That's a very, very important and good way to look at it. Maybe I'll use that tomorrow when I'm sitting in traffic. I'm gonna be like, you know what, Key is right. Maybe I'm not supposed to be at home right now. I'm kidding. CB fan says Trey busy, very busy. Yes, I am, man. I'm very, very busy guy. I try to keep as active as possible. So B Live Show says it's important to have healthy self-identity and accept the whole entire you, good, bad, and unsightly. This is who God made you to be, and He doesn't make mistakes. You are you on purpose. 100%. That's exactly why I said what I said. again, we are who we are. A lot of people have a hard time grasping that concept, but hopefully they get it one day, maybe. If things work out for them before they go spend $12,000 on body altering surgeries. You know, that's I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna begin to close the show up tonight. EJ4312 says peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as is, rather than you think of what it should be. Dr. Wayne Dyer. CB Fan says I get nervous when I'm speeding and there's a bunch of speed traps. Even today I slowed down waiting to see if the officer came after me. Yeah, I know how that feels when you drive past an officer doing about 95 and you think they're going to pull up on you. That's just bad at that point, man. You be like, damn, I'm about to get a ticket. Ain't nothing I can do about it. So again, I want to thank you, Kia, for taking time out of your busy life. Very, very busy life to come sit down and have a conversation with me on Let's Talk It Out. A lot of the chat room people really appreciate it. They say you did an excellent job. They're really praising you for the work you put in the community and also at church, you know, with mental health and with religion at the same time. That's incredible that you're able to do both those things.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Alec, for having me again, and everybody for listening. I really appreciate it. The church I do attend is St. James Community. It's on 8000 South Michigan Avenue. Service is at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Feel free. Come on, come on. But yeah, thanks for having me again, Alec.
Brady said, Kia did an amazing job. Keep on with your journey. And Courtney says, thank you so much, Keita. B. Lifschultz says, thank you, Kia. Everybody saying you did a great job, man. Nobody ever tells me I did a good job. But that's okay. We don't have to talk about me. It's all about Kia. Kia did it. You really did come on. You really did bring it tonight. And I thank you. So, again, I want to thank everybody for coming out and listening tonight. Make sure that you guys stay safe and don't freak out in traffic, as Kia's told me. She said, just sit there and wait. Don't try to do too much. See, my sister's the only one that says good job. Thank you. Thank you, Anna, for being the only person that cares about me and my feelings. No, I'm kidding. No, Mom, don't tell me. No, don't tell me I did. Everybody talking about you did a great job. No, it's too late, guys. Don't backtrack now. Say what you said with some conviction. No, I'm kidding. Again, I'm going to close out tonight. But like I said, I look forward to talking to you guys next Thursday at 8 p.m. Make sure you're there. The podcast version of the show will be available shortly if you want to send it out to other people or if you're subscribed to the network. So, again, thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.